Chapter 16, Emperor 1. This Blue River was also like Lord Grimm and had been announced by the system twice. His background wasn't small. He belonged to one of the three great guilds, Blue Brook Guild. In the heavenly domain, he possessed the Blade Master, Blue Bridge Spring Snow, one of the 5 top experts of Blue Brook Guild. But as all veterans knew, peak guilds like Blue Brook Guild had a professional club backing them. The 5 great experts weren't their best. The experts of the professional team behind them were. Behind the Blue Brook Guild was the Blue Rain Club's team. The number 1 player on their team was called Huang Shaoshan. His account was a blade master called Troubling Rain. In the Glory community, he was known as the Sword Saint and was as equally famous as the Battle God One Autumn Leaf. When the 10th server opened, Blue Brook Guild sent Blue River along with other helpers to be pioneers in the new server and help establish their power by absorbing fresh blood. No one else but a player from one of those 3 great guilds would dream of dominating the dungeon records in a new server. Who would have thought that their dreams would have ended already in the Spider Cave? Not only that, but they were only off by 10 seconds. His brothers were all depressed and Blue River wasn't feeling good either. Lord Grimm, discussing the name, Blue River and everyone else were at a loss. The guilds that wrestled for power from Blue Brook Guild mainly did so in the heavenly domain. After competing for so many years, they all learned of each other's experts. This time, all of the experts that were sent out to the 10th server had been scouted out. The information was thorough and accurate. But Lord Grimm had never appeared in their list of names. Was it possible that he snuck in? Is there any information on his 4 teammates? Blue River asked. None, all of the brothers said. Get in touch with all of our brothers in each of the villages. See if anyone knows him, Blue River said. Beginners were put into villages randomly. Even their Blue Brook Guild people couldn't meet up with each other easily, most of them were on their own. While they leveled up, they also dug out future prospects. When they reached level 20 and left Beginner Village, they would join together after establishing a guild. The Blue Brook Guild players that came were headed by Blue River. And his side naturally became the command center. In reality, no big guild would go so far as to cover all of the beginner villages. The player distribution was too random, so it wasn't possible to be so precise. But when Blue River once again went into Spider Cave to quickly level up, the information they had requested finally arrived. Only, this information not only didn't tell them clearly who those players were, but instead made the situation even more chaotic. The information report told them that outside of the Green Forest at some village, just then Sleeping Moon had slandered and criticized Lord Grimm, saying that he had intentionally tricked and robbed them of the hidden boss. What type of hideous mess is this? Hearing this, everyone was puzzled. This Lord Grimm swindled a player to obtain the first hidden boss kill and then formed a party with that player to be the first to clear Spider Cave? This odd situation made these 5 experienced veterans to be extremely puzzled. Let's not worry about this first. Let's hurry up and train. There'll definitely be an opportunity to meet them when we reach level 20, Blue River said gloomily and continued to lead his party. Outside of some villages, Spider Cave, 7 Fields and the others were still immersed in the excitement of being the first ones to clear a dungeon and couldn't free themselves from it. They were lacking compared to Blue River and those experts by several grades. As a result, with regards to a first clear, it was basically a dream come true. Who would have thought that they truly had the chance to complete it? In that moment, they were excited beyond words. And their great leader Lord Grimm? He was still deathly silent. He only dully said a few words, pretty good experience. Expert, it's all thanks to you. 7 Fields and the others all surrounded Lord Grimm. After playing Glory for so long, today was the day they finally understood what peak expert meant. A peak expert could let novices like them clear a difficult dungeon with ease. 7 Fields felt that for this sort of expert, even leaving his guild to follow him was worth it. In comparison to the other 3 in high spirits, Sleeping Moon's mood was quite gloomy. What had originally been his hated enemy turned into his brother's hero. Not only that, but just a moment ago in the dungeon, he himself looked like a vile person giving his brothers a bad opinion of him. Now, if he didn't say anything, then his face really would just fall off. Sleeping Moon grinded his teeth and jumped in front of Lord Grim. Your skill is really good. I admit to this. Only, I swear that there will be a day I catch up to you. Are you serious? Yishu laughed. Yes, Sleeping Moon said in an extremely provocative manner. Go for it, Yishu replied back and left. Minnesota, Sleeping Moon was about to go insane. You should look down on me. You should hate me. You should mocking me. Wasn't this how experts were supposed to respond to challenges? To not care and just say, go for it, as if nothing had happened. What was that? Little Moon, knock it off. 7 Fields went over to ease him. CK, you're the Little Moon, Sleeping Moon said angrily. Calm down. Let's hurry up and train, the other 2 brothers Sunset Clouds and Drifting Water called out. Then, they gladly and diligently caught up to Lord Grim to try make him their good friends. Minnesota, why didn't they call me over too? 7 Fields immediately rushed over. While Sleeping Moon grinded his teeth, he unexpectedly received a friend request from Lord Grim. Decline. Sleeping Moon happily declined it. If he asked again, Sleeping Moon thought, but that sort of development didn't happen. Lord Grim had already entered the dungeon. 7 Fields and the 2 others followed closely. Sleeping Moon had been swept to the side. Only after a long time did he receive an invite from 7 Fields. Sleeping Moon was depressed. When they entered the dungeon, Minnesota, the 4 others didn't wait for him at all. They slaughtered their way through and as if he weren't there. Sleeping Moon wanted to leave the dungeon, but 7 Fields invited him again. Sleeping Moon still enjoyed his brother's concerns, so he had second thoughts thinking that he couldn't ignore his brother's concern just because of that guy. In the end, he still caught up with them. 7 Fields still had a good relationship with him. He keenly discovered that Sleeping Moon wasn't feeling too good and sent another private message to cheer him up. Sleeping Moon's mood improved a lot. This time, they breezed through the dungeon just like before. In an instant, they slaughtered their way through. Without saying another word, they entered for a 3rd round. But when they entered the dungeon they received a system prompt, you have mistakenly entered the Spider Emperor's cave. Hidden boss, 7 Fields cried out in alarm and then looked to Lord Grim. If they didn't have this expert, they definitely wouldn't dare attempt the hidden boss. The system also empathized on this point. The hidden boss wouldn't stop players from clearing a dungeon. They could kill it or choose not to. Killing the final boss was still the end goal. Now, the players unanimously looked towards Lord Grim. They wanted to see if this expert had a way to defeat the hidden boss. Oh, there's a hidden boss, Yishu said. Hey, if it's a hidden boss, we can't kill it. 7 Fields and the others were a little disappointed. It's not that we can't kill it. I just have a few conditions. The Spider Emperor should drop strong spider silk. Can you guys give me this? I'll give up on the other materials and equipment. You guys can have them all, Yishu said. Chapter 17, Emperor 2. No problem. 7 Fields and the others almost didn't think about the proposal before agreeing. At this moment, the value of this expert had already surpassed those precious drops from the hidden boss. They were more worried about finding a way to express their goodwill. Who would have thought that this expert would come up with this demand? That was truly a relief. Even if he wanted all of the drops, 7 Fields and the others wouldn't hesitate to agree either. In addition, 7 Fields, this guy, wanted to express his goodwill even further. He turned around and said, Little Moon, give the party leader over to Brother Expert. If you say that again, I'm going to kill you. Sleeping Moon grinded his teeth. Ha ha, isn't it cute? Why don't you like it? 7 Fields laughed, but he didn't joke too excessively and immediately followed up, if you don't want me to call you that, then I won't call you that. Give the party leader position to Brother Expert. Sleeping Moon understood his meaning. By giving him the party leader position and then letting him set up the party, they would thoroughly dispel all of his doubts towards them. He would then have complete trust between them. Reaching this step, Sleeping Moon finally understood at last. Lord Grim didn't need any plots. If he really wanted everything, then with just a word, his 3 brothers would have no complaints. Sleeping Moon had no other choice, so he transferred the position to him. In the end, Lord Grim didn't make any changes and only said, let's continue, so he continued to lead everyone. Their killing method didn't change and everything proceeded without a hitch. Ahead, a fork appeared on the main road of the spider cave. Everyone knew which one of the roads led to the Spider Emperor's den. Lord Grimm didn't hesitate and directly headed towards the Spider Emperor. The 4 others followed closely behind. This side road wouldn't appear in the normal dungeon. On the way, there were a few spider eggs. When the players moved close to them, they began hatching. Extremely small spiders jumped out and attacked the players. Their damage wasn't high, but they were small and nimble, not easy to hit. The 4 players opened their eyes wide until they almost popped out. It would basically take 3 to 5 strikes to hit at once. But for Lord Grimm, with just a lift of his lance, he would hit one after another without fail, cleaning them up rapidly. Seeing that the 4 others were having trouble, he turned around to provide assistance. The 4 others all held their breath. Without this person, although they could have reached the Spider Emperor, this road would have taken them an hour. Do you think we'll be the first ones to kill the Spider Emperor? Drifting Water looked forward to the future. This depends on our luck. We won't know if we'll meet it early enough, Seven Fields said. We were the first ones to clear it, meaning we were the earliest to go into the spider cave the second time. Our speed wasn't slow either. Now this is our 3rd round and there hasn't been an announcement for it yet. I feel that our chances are good, Drifting Water analyzed. Without strength, even if we met the Spider Emperor, we wouldn't dare to kill it, Sunset Cloud sighed. Luckily we have Brother Expert, Seven Fields said. Right, those 2 parroted. You guys make me sick, Sleeping Moon exceptionally disdained upon how these 3 were always trying to curry favor with Lord Grimm. He wasn't scared of Lord Grimm hearing of it either. The 3 players all felt embarrassed and became somewhat angry towards Sleeping Moon. As for their previous hostility, that fellow was also in the wrong, why couldn't he just move back a step? Seven Fields once again sent Sleeping Moon a private message to educate him. Sleeping Moon obviously couldn't reason over Seven Fields. In the end, he could only show off a "I'm not feeling well anyways" attitude. Seven Fields was getting impatient too. When Sleeping Moon said he wasn't feeling well, Seven Fields told him to just leave the dungeon and get out. And stop causing trouble for them. Sleeping Moon felt sad and wronged. Did the time finally arrive for those peasants to leave him for the expert? We're here, Yishu continued to be at the very front. Seeing that there was another cave in the spider cave, he knew that this was the Spider Emperor's den. How do we kill it? Seven Fields asked. You guys wait a bit. I'm going to go look up a guide, Yishu said. The 4 others immediately went into chaos. What was this situation? To look up a guide when they reached a crisis, what was this sort of last-minute preparation? Brother Expert, Seven Fields didn't know how to convey it. In the end, he saw that Lord Grimm just stood there without any response. He really did go out of the game to look up a guide. The 4 were at a loss. They had already judged him as an ultra-high-level expert, but how could this sort of thing happen to such an expert? Could it be he switched with someone else? Seven Fields guessed an idea that caused everyone to be alarmed. As I said before, how could such an awesome expert not stay in the heavenly domain? Why would he be here alone in this new server? Drifting Water said. F***ck, it was a true expert that helped play with us, but now that a fake expert switched in? Wouldn't he have to run off and look at a guide? Sunset Cloud said. Brother Expert, how could you just abandon us like this? Couldn't you have at least helped us clear the dungeon? Tears streamed down the 3 players' cheeks. Sleeping Moon hadn't uttered a word, but he suddenly had another guess. This person had acted so calmly and without a reaction towards him. Didn't he have the same personality as the person he had met when they first bumped into each other? Right when he couldn't free himself this type of difficult situation. Yishu had already finished the guide and returned. Okay, Yishu said. Brother Expert, you haven't switched players, have you? Seven Fields carefully asked. Switched players? Yishu didn't understand. Has this account been played by you the entire time? Seven Fields asked. Yup, Yishu said. Then I don't really understand. Why would such an amazing expert need to look at a guide? 7 Fields said. I haven't done this dungeon in so many years. If I didn't look at a guide, I wouldn't remember how to beat it, Yishu said. Then before I had also looked up a guide, Yishu said. The 4 players were dumbstruck. When? 7 Fields asked. After learning skills, I glimpsed at a few. But they were too long, I hadn't read up to the hidden boss, Yishu said. The 4 continued to be puzzled. They had all studied a spider cave guide beforehand. But there was no guide that was similar to how Lord Grimm commanded. What guide did he look at? Yishu had already begun explaining how to fight the Spider Emperor. Just a moment ago, I looked at the Spider Emperor's description. To confront him, we can still use the same strategy as we did against the web-spitting one. After surrounding it, we chain stun it. But here's the difficult part, the Spider Emperor will keep on spawning spider eggs, which can't be interrupted by any skill or effect. The spawn spider will be similar to the ones in the passageway, but their bites will cause a 3-second stasis. Everyone knows about the stasis status effect, right? You cannot move or attack, but you can't be hurt either. Although there won't be any damage, it'll break up our formation. So we definitely can't be bitten by those small spiders. Quote. Then what should we do? 7 Fields asked. Let me be in charge of clearing these small spiders. Don't worry about them. So the hardest part will be whether the 4 of you can continuously chain stun the Spider Emperor until its death. Chapter 18, Emperor 3. This is the strategy from the guide. 7 Fields and the others weren't new players. The guides they had seen didn't have this sort of strategy. If there was such a guide, then it would definitely be criticized until there were cuts and bruises all over. Why? Because this could only be done in theory. 4 people continuously chain stunning the Spider Emperor was still reasonable. But to rely on a single person to cleanly kill off all of the small spiders, who would dare to ensure that he wouldn't make a single mistake? If there was even a single small spider that escaped and bit at any one of the 4, then the formation would be interrupted. The Spider Emperor could fly up in the air, drill into the ground, spit webs that pulled them, and spray poison mist. Of all of the hidden bosses, it was the strongest. If the 4 surrounded it and then suddenly, an opportunity to retaliate appeared, then all of them could just die on the spot. What do you think? Can you guys do it? Yet Yishu still asked. Hey, isn't this a problem that we should be asking you? Can you guarantee that not a single spider will leak out? Sleeping Moon said. Of course. That's why the crucial point is you guys. 4 people surrounding it. It's also the highest level Spider Emperor, so coordinating rhythm needs to be fast. I can't help you guys. If you hear my voice and then react, it might already be too slow, so I can only rely on the coordination of you 4. What do you think? Is there a problem? Yishu asked. Is there any other method? 7 Fields asked. Truthfully, the 4 of them weren't very confident. With your combination of class skills, I don't think there is any other, Yishu said. This is a method you decided on after seeing our class's skills? Correct. The 4 were shocked. They were still wondering what guide Yishu looked at because the several times they had done it, they had never seen a guide like that. Now they knew, Yishu didn't look at a guide to look for a strategy, he was only looking at it to see the boss's characteristics. After looking at it, he created a strategy that fit their skills. Without any testing, without any breaking in, just directly commanding, in the end they cleared the bosses. This time what shocked the 4 of them wasn't the gorgeous character control, the outstanding awareness, or the exceptional leadership. It was the extremely deep understanding of the game. 7 Fields and the others immediately felt that the word expert wasn't enough to describe him. Only an even grander term could. But the 4 of them were still hesitant because this time they couldn't completely depend on him. The 4 had to do their part alone. Originally, they weren't any great experts, merely experienced players that were better than new players. When Yishu asked whether they could do it or not, they truthfully didn't have much confidence. The 4 hesitated, but Yishu didn't urge them. The 5 of them just silently stood there outside the Spider Emperor's den. But at this moment, a system announcement suddenly flashed over their screens. The first spider cave hidden boss kill had already been completed. 7 Fields clenched his teeth and thought it'd be best not to think of the first kill at this moment. Even if we went through a dungeon on an ordinary day, if we met a hidden boss, then it's not like we wouldn't even try and just give it up. If we really couldn't do it, then we could just quickly leave. One benefit of beginner village dungeons was that force quitting a dungeon could be done. Although the character still had to be resurrected, there wouldn't be any experience loss. Beginner village all in all took good care of new players. Shall we try it? 7 Fields looked towards his 3 brothers. The 3 players showed fighting spirit after seeing the system announcement. They all agreed in unison. Bring it on. 7 Fields represented his brothers and declared their choice to Lord Grimm. 4 people is enough to use this strategy. Recall what your rhythm was the last few times. Now just make it a bit faster. Don't think about it, feel it, Yishu said. Understood. I'll start the battle. Yishu said this and directed Lord Grimm to the den entrance. He didn't enter. He just took out his weapon and lifted it up once. He then suddenly turned around and retreated swiftly. Done. The 4 were stunned. Done, Yishu said. The 4 were all scratching their head in puzzlement. How did he start it? They didn't see anything. They all thought that Lord Grimm would enter. Who knew that he would just stand at the entrance for a bit? This type of initiation could only be done by long-ranged classes. Did he bring a gun? He must have. While they guessed, a shriek rang out from the den. The Spider Emperor that had been in a nice nap had been forcefully woken up. Everyone felt the entire cave shake and knew that the Emperor was about to come out. Disperse to the left and right. Be careful, Yishu yelled. 7 Fields and the others separated left and right, 2 on each side. The Spider Emperor spat out poison and directly pounced onto Lord Grimm. Lord Grimm didn't retreat and instead moved forward. He rushed forward to meet it. Right when it looked as if he were going to be pounced on, suddenly, his body lowered. With a whoosh and a bang, he slid across the Spider Emperor's belly. I told you he brought a gun, Drifting Water shouted. The bang was a sound produced from a basic gunner attack. The sliding Lord Grimm then leapt up into the air. With a flick of his wrist, the lance stabbed into the Spider Emperor's butt. Using the Spider Emperor's pouncing power, he sent the Spider Emperor flying into the 4-man formation. Up, Yishu yelled. The 4 acted with confusion. Prior to this, they had thought that Yishu needed a bit of time to bring the monster into the trap. They hadn't thought that the Spider Emperor would have been brought to them so directly and efficiently. I'll start, 7 Fields shouted and moved up to attack. Then me, Sunset Clouds moved up. Drifting Water went next. Sleeping Moon had to go next. After Sleeping Moon finished, 7 Fields cried, my skill's still on cooldown. Too quick, Yishu's Lord Grimm had already dashed up to use a dragon tooth, keeping the Spider Emperor stunned. Hurry up and get familiar with the rhythm, Yishu directed Lord Grimm to the just recently spawned small spiders. Okay, 7 Fields looked. It turns out that the Emperor didn't immediately lay out all of its abilities when the fight began. It started out quite slow, giving them some time to ease in. At this point, the great expert could still deal with a small amount of spiders while simultaneously helping them continuously stun. It's still too fast. After the round was over, 7 Fields' skill was still on cooldown. Don't be nervous. Grasp the rhythm, Yishu reminded. Fast, Drifting Water went too early. Still fast, it's still Drifting Water. It's still fast. This time it's Little Moon. Drifting Water's rhythm was good. You've adjusted well, Yishu helped observe who was doing well while busily hitting down the small spiders. The Spider Emperor's life continued to drop. The spawn rate increased by 1, 2, 3. Okay, this round's rhythm was good that time. Grasp it well. Finally, this round, their coordination was just right. Chapter 19, Emperor 4. Rhythm. 7 Fields and the others recited the word until their minds were about to break. In front of their eyes wasn't the Spider Emperor nor an attack target, only when to use their skill. After another successful round after another, the 4 players felt happy. Had they finally grasped it? Although they couldn't say what the feeling was, but it felt like it was right and began instinctively releasing their skills at the right time. Yi Shu at this time also didn't have the skill to take care of them anymore. After saying a go, 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 he coiled around the Spider Emperor, taking down the small spiders. Hitting left and right without ever failing, the small spiders were killed. Currently, only Yi Shu could do this. Although there were other players that had this level of skill, in the new server, their weapons were still only level 10. They couldn't kill the small spiders in one hit. If a small spider had to be hit twice to kill, even Yi Shu wouldn't be able to completely clear them all. Be careful and concentrate. You guys can do it, Yi Shu reminded them from time to time. He clearly knew that it was easy to grow numb from doing this sort of repeated robotic action. If their minds wandered for a bit, then a tragedy would appear. Seven Fields didn't let their minds go astray. They fixed their attention on their brother's actions. They didn't have time to worry about what Lord Grimm was doing, even though they clearly knew that clearing the small spiders was much more difficult. In addition, a single mistake would cause them to all die too. The Spider Emperor's life had already dropped to half. Seven Fields repeatedly did the same action and the rhythm was fast too. He felt that his fingers had turned a little rigid. They all began to doubt whether they could still continue to press on. Seven Fields boldly gave some attention to Lord Grimm's situation. Lord Grimm was currently flying around everywhere. The Spider Emperor had already begun to lay 6 eggs at once. 6 spider eggs, after breaking open their shell, without any reason, would randomly choose a target to pounce on. Lord Grimm's battle lance was jet black. Only the tip of the umbrella had a small glint of light. With a wave and a flash of cold light, the battle lance stabbed through the small spider, which shrieked and died on the spot. Not good, Seven Fields' heart dropped. He saw, from the corner of his eye, a small spider had quickly flew towards sunset clouds. But Lord Grimm's distance was too far, it didn't look like he would make it in time. In the end, he only heard a bang echo and that small spider burst into flames, exploding into small pieces. What happened? Seven Fields said in a flurry. It was good that he still hadn't forgotten his task. His attacks were still on point. It seems as if it had been hit by a gun, Seven Fields thought. But at that time he had only seen the small spider, he hadn't paid attention to Lord Grimm's movements. Thinking about that long-ranged initiation, he confirmed that this player also brought a different class's weapon with him. Seven Fields now felt reassured, but when he looked at his brothers, he saw that they were all concentrated solely on their task at hand. Their heads hadn't even turned once. Seven Fields suddenly discovered that during this moment of distraction, his weariness and nervousness decreased by quite a bit. But at this moment, Seven Fields didn't dare tell his brothers about this experience. If everyone became distracted for a bit, who knew what would happen? I hope that there won't be any accidents, Seven Fields silently thought in his heart. But at this moment, Sleeping Moon felt as if his limit had almost been reached. Both hands were extremely stiff and it seemed like they had lost all flexibility. He couldn't even tell whether he had completed his action when each round passed. His gaze was fixed on the screen. When suddenly, he felt as if the distance between the screen and him widened, and everything on the screen blurred. Feeling, I have to remember the feeling. Sleeping Moon kept reminding himself. He was under a lot of pressure and was afraid of making a mistake. He knew that his brothers already had a somewhat bad opinion of him. Even more, he didn't want Lord Grimm to look down on him. Stand firm. Sleeping Moon clenched his teeth and persevered. In the very beginning, the Spider Emperor's health seemed to drop so quickly. But why does it feel so slow now? After all this time, why is there still left? Can I really persevere until the end? When Seven Fields became distracted, it let him relax a bit. But when Sleeping Moon became distracted, it only added to his pressure. In the end, it didn't matter what happened though, the two players hadn't made any mistakes yet. Their chain-stunning coordination still continued. Just at this moment, Drifting Water suddenly let out a cry. He made a mistake. When they had first started to break in, he was also the slowest to enter the state, unable to grasp the rhythm. After persevering for this long, he had finally made a slip-up. Just like before, he had acted too quickly. Although the Spider Emperor was still stun-locked, after Sleeping Moon went, what then? Because drifting water had acted too quickly, Seven Field's skill would still be on cooldown. He had no other skill to stun the Spider Emperor again. The 4 players' hearts all dropped to a sheet of dead ash. They all hoped that the expert would perform a miracle and rescue them. But in the end, they saw that the Spider Emperor raised its butt and unfortunately, spawned 8 eggs at this moment. It's over. The 4 gave up all hope. After Sleeping Moon used his skill, he could only sorrowfully look at Seven Fields. Seven Fields had no available skills, he had no idea what to do next. After losing control of the Spider Emperor, what should he do? This was an event that he hadn't foreseen. Seven Fields move out of the way. In the middle of their despair, a voice ignited their hopes in an instant. Seven Fields immediately moved to the side without the slightest hesitation. A battle lance streaked from the sky. Lord Grimm used Dragon Tooth to stab the Spider Emperor. The stun status had been mended, but with no one controlling the 8 small spiders, they all scattered ready to bite everyone. Everyone was at a loss. They didn't know whether to continue attacking the Spider Emperor or deal with the small spiders. In the end, they saw that Lord Grimm, who had just used Dragon Tooth, moved forward 2 steps. The battle lance in his hand unexpectedly split into 2 parts. With each hand holding a different part, both arms stretched forward and held back the Spider Emperor. HMPH, Lord Grimm lifted both his arms. Taking advantage of the Spider Emperor raising his head, he flipped backwards. With an iron bridge, he toppled the Spider Emperor onto its back. Grappler skill, back throw. This skill not only did damage to the target, but also created a small-scale ripple damaging monsters in its radius. Lord Grimm's back throw had created a ripple at just the right spot hitting all 8 spiders. The small spiders all flipped over and bounced up. With a crashing sound, they all turned into corpses. Seven Fields, Yishu yelled. Seven Fields had been prepared. He immediately kicked it and the Spider Emperor continued to be in a stunned state. Everyone be careful. I can't rescue you guys all the time, Yishu said. Chapter 20, Emperor 5. Sunset clouds, drifting water, sleeping moon, each one attacked it one after the other. They were all scared to the point that their hands were drenched with cold sweat. Every time they grabbed their mouse, they were afraid that their hands would slip. But there was no time to wipe it, they were all wide-eyed not daring to make the slightest mistake. The situation stabilized once more. The 4 players that didn't dare be distracted didn't reflect on the past situation. Under their relentless attacks, the Spider Emperor's health declined. From 2. It's almost at red blood. Everyone be careful, Yishu reminded them. What do we do when it hits red blood? Seven Fields asked. When a hidden boss hit red blood, there would definitely be a special effect. The guide he looked at said that when the boss hit red blood, it would gain super armor. In this state, the boss couldn't be stunned. Kill it quick, Yishu said. Hearing these 3 words, the 4 players no longer felt nervous, but on the contrary felt excited. They had performed the same action for too long. They would rather die than do the same actions again. It's red, Seven Fields yelled. Sunset clouds step on a small spider, Yishu shouted. What? Although Sunset Clouds didn't understand this command, he had already subconsciously faced towards a small spider that pounced at him. It looked like it really had been prepared just for him. The small spider bit towards Sunset Clouds and immediately he was incapable of performing any actions. The Spider Emperor unexpectedly also twisted its body and bit disgustingly with its big mouth towards him. Sunset Clouds cried out in fear. In the end, nothing happened. After the small spider bit him, he was forced into a stasis state and couldn't move. But during this time, he was invincible, even the Spider Emperor couldn't harm him. Yishu used this knowledge to give everyone time to freely attack the Spider Emperor for 3 seconds. While the Spider Emperor acted out violently, it continued to spawn eggs like mad. Yishu took note of this and began clearing out all of the small spiders again. Only this time, he carefully observed that the small spiders didn't touch Sunset Clouds. But it could be said that Sunset Clouds suddenly gained insight and actively looked for small spiders to bite him. Although they weren't experts, they were experienced and understood Yishu's tactic. Because the 4 players had surrounded and attacked the Spider Emperor, they had accumulated a lot of aggro. Sunset Clouds did the greatest amount of damage among the 4 of them, so the aggro onto him was also the greatest. Yishu used this knowledge and let the Spider Emperor to start off his plan. The original small spiders that had once tried to interrupt their formation became their most dependable protective umbrella. Before, this tactic wouldn't have worked because it was only until later did Sunset Clouds accumulate enough aggro onto him. Besides, it was also at this point that the Spider Emperor's spawning rate pushed him to his limits. Sunset Clouds lined up to be bitten, maintaining his invincibility. Although the small spiders did some damage, it wasn't very high. When there was an opportunity, Lord Grimm would conveniently give him a heal. The Spider Emperor spat out webs and poison. Every part of its body that could be used was used, but to no avail. Only with their continuous attacks, finally, someone surpassed Sunset Clouds in total aggro. The Spider Emperor switched attack targets, but the first one to be targeted, Sleeping Moon, had learned of Sunset Cloud's tactic long ago. And the one with the task of clearing small spiders, Lord Grimm, had predicted this step too. He prepared a spider in advance to pounce towards Sleeping Moon. This most dangerous red blood part of the battle had already been thoroughly turned into a game. Everyone was happily laughing and bullying the Spider Emperor. Finally, they teased this strongest monster in Spider Cave to its death. First, the system announcement appeared. Lord Grimm, 7 Fields, Sunset Clouds, Drifting Water, Sleeping Moon are the first to kill the Spider Emperor. Sweet, 7 Fields and the others excitedly cheered. If they could, they would have lifted Lord Grimm high up towards the sky and tossed him. If they didn't have him, they wouldn't have been able to complete it. The continuous chain stuns on the Spider Emperor gave them lots of pressure, but the task of clearing out the small spiders was much harder. The scarier part was that he had rescued them midway. Finally, he accurately controlled the small spiders' aggro in order to complete the entire plan. They had nothing more to say. 7 Fields and the others truly had no other words to describe it. They had played Glory, but up until now, let alone seeing, they hadn't even thought such an amazing player existed. Brother Expert, 4 strong silk threads dropped. 7 Fields ran up to see what the Spider Emperor had dropped and reported it to Yishu. He happily chose to give them up. The others also, without any objections, agreed that they wouldn't even touch them. Thank you, Yishu said and picked up the 4 strong silk threads. The rest is yours. Yishu also kept his word. You take them. You take them. After the items appeared, they humbly declined them. They knew that Yishu made sure a disaster never appeared. Besides the strong spider silk, the Spider Emperor also dropped 2 spider venoms, a pair of level 15 chestnut boots, and armor that added 3 points to strength. Apart from this, a purple weapon appeared too. Mahogany Tachi, level 15. Weight, 2.6 kilograms, attack speed, 8. Physical attack, 165, magic attack, 178. Strength plus 10, intelligence plus 14. Tachis were considered sword-class weapons, used by the swordsman-type class, but its magic attack was high. Actually, in Glory, weapons either emphasized either physical attack or magic attack. The myriad manifestation umbrella was the same in both. A player could know that it was self-made just by looking at its stats. In comparison, the Mahogany Tachi was on the same level as the myriad manifestation umbrella. A level 15 purple weapon was equivalent to his level 5 silver weapon. But this Mahogany Tachi did have additional properties. Its attack speed was higher than the myriad manifestation umbrella by 3 levels, and just by its attribute increases, it already surpassed the myriad manifestation umbrella. Yishu looked at the Tachi and sighed in admiration at today's luck. Blue equipment and hidden boss materials were certain drops, but the previous skill book and the current purple weapon, those were all luck. Although low-leveled equipment would quickly become outdated, with this purple weapon, in the first stage, a player would still be stronger than most others. Not only that, but purple weapons could totally be used up until level 25. because of this sword. Even if an unspecialized character that hadn't planned on playing the swordsman type class switched to it, the switch would be worth it. The 4 players all gulped, especially Sleeping Moon and Sunset Clouds. Those two had been planning on playing a swordsman type class. This weapon absolutely suited them. Ha ha, this sword is useless. You guys take it. After Yishu looked at it for a bit, he decided to renounce it. He also renounced the spider venom and chestnut boots and completely kept his word on their previous agreement. Brother expert, you should still take them, 7 Fields said honestly. If you didn't carry us, we wouldn't have been able to see these things. Ha ha, if it weren't for your formation, even I would have trouble killing the Spider Emperor, Yishu said. Everyone stared blankly. Did they hear that correctly? He didn't say he wasn't able to, he only said he'd have trouble.